Welcome back to Motorsport Podcast. I'm Carrie.
And I'm Mike.
And we are going to talk about the Formula One Miami Grand Prix from this past weekend. So we're going to talk the sprint and the Grand Prix.
And all the exciting stuff that happened.
Yeah, all the exciting things. I mean, started with...
I think the first thing we have to talk about is Kimi Antonelli getting pole.
That's the first thing you're going to talk about?
Well, it's quali and for the sprint.
Guess so. Okay.
Right?
Yeah, like...
Historic.
It was. Yeah, he is the youngest to take pole. It was Vettel, right? That had it previously, I think. Broke Seb's record from
2008.
I was going to say like almost 20 years ago.
Yeah. The Italian Grand Prix in 2008.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think we all knew that Kimi was going to
be fast.
I think the car is obviously, I think, a better car this year, the Mercedes.
Yeah. It's definitely performing well.
It seems like I wouldn't actually, it's more consistent.
Yep.
Like I'd say like across all tracks, it's performing at a more consistent level where in previous years it was kind of up and down and all over the place.
Right.
And so I think it comes as no surprise to anybody that happened. Like I think it was just bound to happen at some point.
Yeah, I think it was expected that Kimi would do something this year.
Yes.
That would be
noteworthy.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, did you see Toto's face?
Toto was like a proud father.
I haven't seen that face since 2020.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like nothing George has done has put a smile
that
on his face.
He loves Kimi. So I was happy. You know what? Like I want nothing more than Mercedes to be successful again.
Yeah.
I wish it would have happened with Lewis, but
yep.
I'm going to move past that. So I was happy about that. I think qualifying was electric. Like the track really came alive.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like lap after lap after lap of like just really solid performance.
Yeah, it was really exciting to watch. And then even before the race, we had Charles crashing.
Because I think I said this in the last pod that like Charles is not great on this track. I think if you ask Charles, he would agree. I really like Charles. I think he's a super talented driver. There's something about this track. Maybe he's got ADHD and he gets really distracted by something. I don't know what happens. But this isn't the first time he's crashed at that track.
Yeah, I don't know. But it's strange to see on. Like, I mean, he was just coasting. Like, I guess he hydroplaned and lost control, and weird that it happened.
He's had weird crashes there before, though.
Yeah.
So disappointing for Ferrari. I would say their overall weekend was lackluster.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And then I was so disappointed for Oscar because he deserved that win.
Yeah.
And it
unlucky.
I guess that was racing, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And like poor Kimi, because it just you know what? I just don't think he has enough experience with starts, right?
No. I think Oscar knew that the opportunity was going to be there.
Oh, absolutely.
And like Oscar got...
He's a mega starter.
Yeah, he like the second phase of his start, like he was before the first corner, he was ahead. And I mean, he was just like don't even try it, Antonelli. Like he's like pushes him out of the way.
Well, he regularly makes up a lot of ground in his starts. Yeah. So I wasn't surprised at all. Like I kind of anticipated that Kimi was going to drop back. Yeah, and then like I don't know. So who crashed, causing the safety car?
That was Liam Lawson hitting Fernando Alonso.
Oh yeah, I wonder what Alonso thinks of him now, because like he didn't like him before. Definitely not going to like him now.
Lawson racking up more penalties.
I'm not a fan of him at all.
What?
Plot twist, I know. But I feel for him as a person going through this, because it must be devastating.
Yeah.
To work for what, he's like 23 for so many years towards this dream, and it is just like he's crumbling under pressure.
Yeah, he really is. He's not performing well.
And it's just unfortunate because I feel like he didn't crumble under pressure before. I think he had some, like, I would say, errors in judgment in the way he was racing Checo last year. But it's just like it is falling apart.
Yeah.
For him. And it's like, it's sad to watch. Like, it's because, like, how much longer are they going to put up with this? You know, Red Bull is unforgiving.
Ruthless. Yeah, they really are. But as you said a few weeks ago, they can only go through so many drivers in a season.
Yeah, this season I think he's safe for the rest of the season.
Exactly. Yeah, I think he is as well. On a positive note in the sprint, though, Lewis getting up there. Right?
Yeah, my boy Lewis.
Some actually decent strategy from Ferrari.
Well, and that was like purely by accident.
It was Lewis telling him,
yeah,
I need to go on softs. I don't know if you saw the clips with the more detailed radio messages.
No.
He's like, guys, are we going to put on slicks? And they're like, we're looking at it. And he goes, we need to do it right now. And they're like, okay, box for medium. He's like, no, softs.
Yeah, well, because who boxed for mediums? Somebody else boxed for mediums. And I was like, what a stupid decision.
Yeah.
Because there was like 8 laps left? No.
Yeah. There was even later. Yeah.
So I enjoyed Lewis. I know this is jumping ahead, but he showed up with his best comedy hour. And he had some amazing zingers.
Yeah, if we're not going to get wins out of Ferrari, we're at least getting good team radio.
I was like, just play his radio message the entire race. I'll listen to it because I loved when he was like, do you want me to let Sainz pass too?
Mm-hmm.
Like, Lewis is, I love it. Like, it's just like, keep doing it, Lewis.
Yeah.
But they deserve it. Like, that team needs to get their shit together. Because Charles had frustrations with them too this year. And I think like when they swapped the positions in the Grand Prix, I know I just totally coast like
jumping ahead,
way ahead. But it's like you need to do it before.
Exactly.
When Lewis was on fresh mediums.
Exactly. You can't wait 5 laps and then do it.
Yeah.
He's lost the advantage at
and
that
you've
point.
Pissed him off.
Yeah.
Like, and it's just, it doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. So going back to sprint, so Lando won.
Yeah. But Lance Stroll, points.
Well, where did he finish?
I think like 5th or 6th or something like that.
What?
It was, yeah.
But it's because there was all those adjustments.
Yeah. Yeah, because of all the penalties after the fact.
Yeah.
But, with those penalties comes a very, very interesting statistic. So because of the penalties and because they finished basically under safety car, Max dropped down to, I don't know if it's P19 or 18, whatever it was, way at the back. This is the first time Max has finished outside of the points in 9 years.
I know, what a burn.
That is
yeah.
That's a streak.
Yeah. I don't see him staying with that team.
Yeah. Because that was team fault. That was,
yeah,
just getting pushed out into Kimi. Just
how do you? I don't know how you continue.
I don't know, but I bet that Lawrence Stroll was real happy when he saw
Obviously,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. How can you not be?
Yeah. I did see a conspiracy theory recently that so Alonso was in his when he was doing his push lap for quali, Max gave him a tow, and people are saying
yeah,
people are saying that it's partners for next year.
There's no way they're getting rid of Lance.
I mean, we can all hope, but don't know if it'll happen.
Yeah, it's definitely not going to.
But moving on to the race, because while the sprint was exciting, small points, we know Lando got lucky with a safety car and ended up winning it.
Yeah, that win just like fell into his lap.
Yeah, but the race was even more exciting.
Well, let's reframe that. The first 20 laps were exciting.
Sure.
And then nothing happened.
For a while, yeah.
For a while. But those first 20 laps, like Max was fighting for those positions.
Yeah.
like there was no tomorrow. So like Max had like a stellar quality.
Yeah, impressive.
Got way more out of the car than that car should have been able to do.
Yeah.
So like kudos to him, because I know that that's purely him, not
Yeah.
the car. I don't think he really approached it in the right way, because while I know it's not in his nature to just give places up,
No.
I think he spent a lot of time with Oscar and then Lando, and then just had nothing left.
Yeah, it was too much to let, so that he just basically let George by.
Well, and then I think he was just like angry at that point.
Yeah.
And like angry Max either drives over Lewis's car or just sulks.
Yeah. I mean, but George also got lucky when the VSC happened, because it pulled him in front of Max, so he didn't actually have to fight him.
Right.
Right. I don't know if George would have been able to get past an angry Max who had been fighting Oscar and Lando, because
Yeah, I don't know, because like Max didn't really like. It was interesting because then once those positions were established, like he got a little bit closer to George, but it was just kind of like, eh.
yeah.
Like I feel like at that point he was like mentally checked out and he wanted to go home.
But I think with the like George getting it done in safety, like through pit strategy and safety car, I think that was huge for him, because he doesn't have the big advantage that the McLaren does of they know that their car is faster than Max's, right? George is maybe a little bit quicker or on par, but he doesn't have that I know I'm faster. It's just a matter of time of when I can get by him. So I think Max would have defended.
Yeah, for sure he would.
And
have.
I question whether George would have gotten by. I don't think he would have. But
I feel like he would have driven over George.
Yeah.
Because he hates him. You know what we totally forgot to talk about with the sprint was Max's unsafe release into Kimi.
Mm-hmm.
And Kimi basically had to do a drive-through pit.
Yeah, unlucky.
And then he had to pit again. And Toto was like, it is not a real race. Like he was just like,
yeah, it's not a real race. It doesn't matter. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's I feel like a challenge to try to settle the mind of an 18-year-old who had pole and then blew it and then got hit in the pits by Max. And
yeah, that's tough to come back from.
it is, yeah. So
yeah, I know I'd be.
It is what it is.
Struggling on that one. Yeah.
But then let's chat Williams, because they had like
they were quick.
The dream weekend.
Right?
Yeah, like Alex Albon, he just managed to sneak into fifth and just stayed there.
Right.
Avoided all the drama.
It was very impressive.
Yeah, like I don't remember seeing him all race.
No. Yeah, because he drove his own race and didn't have to battle. He exceptionally well.
He must have been loving it.
Yeah, very well driven. And Carlos, we saw a lot more of him because he had.
Well, he was battling with Charles and Lewis.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But he ended up finishing P9.
Yeah,
right?
It seems like he is turning it around in that car and starting to adjust. And they showed like James Vowles, like he's like over the moon. And, I think he's realizing and like, I guess like proving it too that, the team could come back, because I think they faced so much scrutiny last year when they didn't have, another chassis.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't that was when we learned that they managed all their parts on Excel spreadsheets.
Yeah.
And I think that was like a huge embarrassment for the team. And now it's like, no, we've got two proper racers, like drivers. We're ready to show up and we are ready to, I wouldn't say dominate, but fight for like good points.
Fight back to good points.
Yeah. And fight, really strong teams.
But I think that's, so I'm reading a lot of comparison between, saying this is Williams going back to, 2015, where they had strong drivers. And since then, it's been really weak. But look at the drivers that they picked, right? You had Logan, who...
Well, they went budget drivers for a long time.
So budget.
Yeah,
right?
they had young George.
Yeah.
They had, is it Kubica? I don't know how to say his name.
Yeah.
I totally butchered that. Apologies.
I'm not sure of the pronunciation.
I mean, obviously like a mega talented driver, and he would have been a world champion had he not had the accident that he did.
The Latifi era.
Oh my God, the Latifi era it was so embarrassing.
Yeah. But so I think having two real drivers,
proper drivers,
makes a big difference, right? Because what is Latifi going to tell you after a race? Oh, we were slow. Yeah, duh.
Didn't hit a wall this week.
Right? So the feedback that you're going to get from a Carlos is so much stronger than...
It's a lot more valuable. Well, especially, and like Carlos has been in like a very strong car the last, I don't remember how many years he was with Ferrari.
I don't know, it's quite a few.
Yeah.
Yeah. 4 years.
Like a proper car.
Yeah.
The McLaren that he was in before, did he go from McLaren? Yeah, he went from McLaren. I mean, that wasn't good.
They were not strong those years.
No. And like the Renault was like, eh. But to come from a Ferrari where he was winning,
yeah,
like he won races, like that's valuable feedback.
Yeah.
That you're not going to get, like Alex Albon, nothing against him, but he had such a short stint in Red Bull that it's just not the same.
No. Yeah, it really, but I mean, and Albon has been doing exceptionally well this
Phenomenal,
year. We got to give him credit.
Yeah, you're going to get, I think, different feedback from both of those drivers.
Yeah. You may not have noticed this, or maybe you did. Did you
I
notice
noticed everything?
Did you notice Zach Brown trolling Christian Horner this weekend?
No. Why didn't you tell me about this? Because I also hate Christian Horner, and I would love. I really enjoy Zach Brown. I want to be friends with him, even though like he loves Lando
a lot,
a little bit too much. Like Christian Horner is obsessed with Max.
But I think Andrea Stella knows that Oscar is the one to push.
The entire team knows.
So
Oscar.
I think you're getting a little bit of a battle there with Stella and Zach.
So how did he troll Christian?
Zach Brown's water bottle was labeled tire water on the side, which was making fun of last year at the end after Miami. Christian Horner made a complaint saying that McLaren was adding water to their tires to cool them. There was no evidence of this.
How do you add water to your tires?
I don't know. This is Christian Horner making complaints.
Christian Horner needs to go away.
I mean, he also complained about George this year, saying that George didn't lift during the safety car. Also, no penalty.
Yeah, he's a pain in the ass. I don't like that man. Not a fan. I'm not a fan of a lot of them, if I'm being completely honest. Like, yeah. Just the way it is.
But you do love Fred.
I do love Fred. Mostly what I love about Fred is I think he looks like a jolly guy.
Yeah.
He starts off in English.
And then transitions into French.
Every single
time.
But like acts casual, like he's still speaking English. Yeah. And I'm like, I don't understand what you're saying now. I do enjoy him. And I love like how he messes with Toto. He just seems like a delightful fellow. I think Andrea Stella, like him.
Yeah.
I enjoy Zach Brown.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That's probably
where it
ends.
That's where it ends. Yeah, that's fair. James Vowles.
Yeah, I feel like I'm not sure I could talk to him. I think he would annoy me.
But he's the guy you'd cheat off of if you had homework.
Absolutely. Yeah, he would have been 1,000% doing my calculus homework.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Any homework he could do, he would have done it. Yeah. He seems nice. I think he's very knowledgeable, but like in an exhausting way.
Yeah.
Like you ask him like a question that maybe perhaps warrants like 1 or 2 word answer, and
it's a long
you get like a novel back. Yeah, like it's a lot. Super knowledgeable though, and I'm sure he's going to do great things with that team.
Yeah.
Do I want to have a drink with him?
Maybe not.
No.
Just make sure he doesn't have a whiteboard with him to do some calculations.
Yeah. Where I think Zach Brown's a good time. I could see him being a good time.
I feel like he probably likes to turn up.
Yeah, he totally does. I don't think Toto would be a very good time either. I think he's very intelligent, and I think you could have a great conversation with him. I don't think he's my drinking buddy. And not that I drink. Like, I'm not, I don't go to the bars. But yeah. And I feel like, who else? Christian Horner? Absolutely not. No, not for me.
That's fair.
Fred, though, he'd be a good time. He'd be like, let's go get some pasta.
Now, segueing into Fred, Ferrari's strategy during the race.
Piss poor.
Yeah.
You know what? I think they make the mistake that a lot of companies make, where they just will not, they waver on the edge, and they miss their window. You got to own it. Good decision or bad decision.
Yep.
You got to just make a decision and go for it. And like, especially in a sport like Formula One, timing is everything. And they want to run the numbers for too long, and you can't do that. Like, they waste so many opportunities, and they waste valuable driver feedback, and they mismanaged. They have a history of mismanaging their driver relationships. Like, when Seb was with Charles, like, Seb is a world champion, knows way more than Charles knows, and like, they're prioritizing Charles.
Yeah, but that's what they did with Toto tried to do with George. Tried to bring in this young thing that they thought was going to be,
Doesn't work.
right. It's not happening.
No. And it's like, if Lewis is your number one, make him your number one and say, Charles, you're going to sit this one out for the next 2 years. Learn from him. Or we're going to have like a return of the Lewis Valtteri and
right,
shake and bake.
Yeah. Because it worked.
It works. And like, this is one of the biggest things that I fault Zach Brown with, is like, we've had 2 number one drivers. It's like, no. Who can win a world championship? One of those drivers.
Yeah. And especially
Oscar.
And I think with Ferrari especially, they prioritize the drivers' championship over the constructors' championship.
Yes. Yeah.
You have Lewis, who is the most popular driver in the world.
Yeah.
He should be your brand focus right now, right?
Absolutely.
Like, when you signed him, you got $10 billion worth of market cap to your company.
Yeah, if Lewis wants to drive in the front.
Focus on that.
Yeah. Drive in the front.
Like, when you got Charles, you didn't see that.
No.
Like, that just seems like a poor business decision from Ferrari.
But I think that's what they have like a history of doing, right?
Yeah.
Like, they piss off really talented drivers.
Yeah.
Like, they pissed off Kimi Räikkönen.
Yeah.
They pissed off Seb.
Yeah.
You're pissing off Lewis.
Yeah.
Fred. Like, if they want to hire me and I will be the bad guy, I make an excellent villain.
It's true.
I will make all of your unpopular decisions for you and own it.
And happily deliver them.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. With a smile on my face.
Yeah.
And guess what, Charles? Swap the positions immediately. Yeah, I would do it. And we would get shit done.
And Lewis would get his 8th. Officially.
Yeah. I think we should do an episode that talks about what could have been with Sir Lewis Hamilton had there been a different outcome in those, 4 races?
Those 4 races. Well, let's not go into it because we'll do that.
Yeah, no, I wasn't going to go into it, but I think that would be an interesting listen.
I agree. Liam Lawson during the race, puncturing Jack Doohan's tire.
Poor Jack just can't catch a break. Like, and Liam Lawson, like, get a little bit more careful.
Yeah.
I think
it was more Doohan's fault.
I was going to say, when they did a replay, it looked like Doohan drove right into Liam. But, kind of deserves it, right?
Well, exactly. That's why I worded it that way. I'm going to blame.
Place the blame on him.
Yeah, I'm going to place the blame on Lawson. One thing I want to give kudos to is Miami, the track, for extending the DRS zone by 75 meters into turn 11, which created basically a whole other overtaking area.
I was going to say the overtakes were so good for so many laps in that race. It made it so much more interesting. And it really, I just felt like opened up the possibilities for just not another like Monaco, right?
Yeah. And I think that's what was so, like, this is the 4th year in Miami. They've already seen areas of opportunity and have made changes.
Right.
Which
I know.
like that to me is impressive.
They want it to be a better race. They want it to be
Yeah.
like a more entertaining, exciting race versus just going around in circles.
Yeah.
And I applaud that. Like, that's what we all want to see. We want it to be an exciting race, and for you to not really know what the outcome is going to be.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned it the other day, the extension of the Miami Grand Prix until, what was it, 2041 or something?
2041, yeah.
Which, I mean, is wild that they already have that locked in.
I'm excited for that.
I think that's great, but that is just such a long contract, especially when so many other tracks in F1 are alternating or losing their contracts. It's so interesting to see F1 commit so heavily to a track.
Well, I mean, there's certain markets they want to grow in, right? So,
And that's obviously,
they
know this is working.
Yeah, I think it makes sense. And I think it's one of those things where there's a lot of interest in some of these races like Vegas, and I know you were like poo-pooing the spectacle, and I saw the massive eye roll when they got on that track.
I was not happy with that.
And you were like, where are they driving to?
Yeah.
But you know what though? Like it makes it a little bit more interesting, and I feel like there's more to watch, right? Like it's one of those things where it's not like a, quickly we're done. There's a lot to it, and I think a lot of the drivers and the team principals like going to Miami.
I did very much enjoy the Lego race.
Yeah.
That they competed in. I think that was good fun. And what I think I liked about it most was you could see how much fun all the drivers were having.
Oh, they loved it. Yeah.
Like, they were having a blast.
Because they're just a bunch of boys that love Lego.
Right?
Yeah.
One thing I read that I thought was very interesting, and probably one of the big pushes why Miami really pushed for this contract extension, the amount of revenue generated from ticket sales at the Miami GP.
Mm-hmm.
So this weekend, the stadium brought in more ticket revenue than they do for an entire year with the Miami Dolphins.
Well, because who wants to watch the Dolphins?
I mean, they got fans.
I know they have fans, but I'd say one of the more lackluster teams in the NFL.
Yeah, but isn't that wild? A single F1 race weekend can outshine an entire football season.
Yeah. Well, and it probably does wonders for the Miami Gardens area.
Community, yes.
A lot of motels. The glitz and glamour of Miami Gardens.
It is.
Just don't get stabbed.
Yeah, exactly. You gotta watch your back a little bit there. Yeah, I didn't track the number of car break-ins, but
no.
My guess is it was high there.
I'm wondering like how many Uber drivers they had in that area. Probably so many.
A lot, yeah. Yeah, everybody thinking they're gonna go to Miami Beach and
then
they roll up.
They're like, what, Miami Gardens? What is this? They put it in the GPS. It's like, did I take a wrong turn? Is this not on the beach?
Yeah.
No, it's not on the beach. No, you're not near the beach. No, you're not near Miami.
No.
At least it's not in Hialeah. That is the sketchiest part of South Florida.
Dade County.
Gotta love it.
I hope Rick Ross was there.
Oh my goodness. Did you see that Sir Lewis Hamilton is at the Met Gala this evening? We're recording this on Monday night.
I did not.
He is co-chairing. He was dressed in a lovely white, I guess it's more cream attire. So he left his disappointing race behind him and jetted off to Manhattan and was dressing up for Anna Wintour.
Looking stylish.
Yeah. You know what? I think it's good that he's got other things going on rather than just F1, because I think it's important. Like, you look at Max and his life, well, hopefully there will be a shift there, but his life is racing, and it's just when he's not racing, he's on the sim. Yeah. And I feel like that has to, well, it's obviously worked for him in the World Championship department.
Yeah. It had its payoffs.
Yeah, it's probably kind of exhausting, like, and gonna lead to some burnout.
Yep.
I do like how everyone was hopeful that he was going to lose some of his edge with a baby.
That did not happen.
That did not happen. So we also didn't chat about Oscar's victory dance. It
Yes.
did not work out.
No, I don't think dancing is in his future.
No.
I don't think he'll end up on Dancing with the Stars.
Well, and did you hear him? He was like, so I made a bet with him and I did so poorly in quali that I was like, well, I'm not going to have to do that.
Yeah.
And then Oscar, come on. We had more faith in you.
Right?
We knew you could pull off the W from fourth.
He was the safe bet.
Absolutely. Yeah. You're Miami. Like anything can happen.
Yeah.
And he is, I'd say like, he's got solid starts behind him.
Oh, yeah.
So I very much, it's not like he was starting from like 10th.
No, exactly. Like,
I was like, oh, fourth. Yeah, you'll get there.
yeah. I felt confident in his abilities to get up there real quick.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, he zoomed to the front.
Yeah.
Well, after a little bit of a battle with Max, but
Yeah.
he made it. So we got Imola next in 2 weeks. Is it 2 weeks?
I think it's 2 weeks. This is where Kimi Antonelli is.
Oh, I think he is going to be manifesting this hard.
Yeah.
He's got his vision board. He is ready to rock and roll at this race. I hope he doesn't put too much pressure on himself. I hope he has fun, enjoys the home crowd, and does the best that he can do.
Wise words. I don't know. It would be tough to not put that pressure on you. He's that little Italian boy going back to his little Italian town.
Absolutely, but you know
Trying
what?
to
You're 18.
Bring it home.
Toto's not going to get rid of you. Toto loves you.
No.
So like,
And I'm sure Toto is giving that exact message. You know,
yeah.
don't put all the pressure on yourself.
No, because I think what I don't want to say his race fell apart like the sprint race, but it is hard to overcome some of those setbacks. And part of being a good racer, I mean, it extends beyond just being a Formula One driver, but having those setbacks and like how you bounce back from those setbacks is going to determine your future, right?
Yeah.
So how you handle it and how quickly you can move past it. And I think the fact that Toto jumped on and tried to like talk him off the ledge, there was probably some messages we missed. And it's like, buddy, like these things are going to happen. It's F1. Some people, like their race ends in the first turn. So
I think like look at Isaac Hadjar. First race.
And look at him now.
In the formation lap. And as you say, look at him now.
Yeah.
Performing
He's moved
very
past
well.
it. Yeah. So there's an old Japanese proverb, and it's get knocked down 7, get up 8.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is like a very important message that people need to learn in life, right? Like it's how you bounce back from the getting knocked down that's going to make the difference. And you see that in like an Oscar, not to be like Oscar's #1 fan, but you do. Like he moves past it quickly, right? He doesn't dwell on things. And even if he's frustrated by something, he doesn't let it ruin his race.
Right.
And then there's, a few drivers that absolutely let it destroy their race. And it's like you need to learn how to master that. Otherwise, it's going to be a very big challenge to stay in Formula One long term.
I feel like you're becoming a mindset coach.
Maybe I'll become that.
Specializing in Formula One.
Right? I'll just travel the world with them. And no, but it's true though. Like I think it's one of those things where it's okay to have your moment.
Yeah.
But when the moment drags on too long, then it just becomes all consuming and you can't recover. And in a sport where things are determined in like split seconds, you can't afford to be that distracted by what happened lap 1, turn 1,
right,
long term.
Yeah, you have to be able to shift your focus.
Yeah, and the champions can shift their focus or channel it, take that anger and channel it into something more.
Right.
Rather than just being like, what's going on with that penalty?
Which I think is what we saw from Max when he matured a little bit over the years.
Absolutely, yeah.
In the earlier years, the 16, 17, 18s,
he's like, watch him, I'm going to drive over you.
Exactly. And I think we saw a shift in him to
periodically he lets it ruin things.
He does.
And I think
yes.
GP really tries to talk him off the ledge and like redirect it. And it's like, get your head in the
Yep.
game, stay focused. It's hard, right? Like nobody's perfect. Nobody's expecting anyone to be perfect, but it's one of those things where it's going to matter, right? Like it's going to matter long term. So like, I hope that they are taking care of Kimmy
Yeah.
because I think he has a bright future.
I can only assume that every team has a mindset expert who helps them through these things and talks to them, or if not every driver, you know,
They should,
have, they have personal trainers for their bodies. They have got trainers for their driving skills.
Yeah.
If you don't have someone for your mindset,
Call
I
me.
think that is, I think that's a place, something that they're missing.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, because you see the effect that it has, right?
Yeah.
And it's interesting because I was surprised to hear it from Oscar saying, well, I'm not going to be able to win from fourth. And it's like, why? Why not?
Yeah. I think because he probably thought Lando was going to.
Yeah, that's true.
He's thinking, I'm in the same car as Lando, and I got to get past a couple guys before I can fight Lando.
But you're better than Lando.
Well, I think he realizes that. I don't think he wants to say it out loud, though.
Do it.
Their post-race interview I thought was interesting. Someone asked the question.
Is this in the press conference?
Yes.
Yeah.
Someone asked the question, you know, how do you not replicate the Nico Rosberg, Lewis Hamilton sort of 2016 season where best friends essentially become enemies? And Lando just kind of looked at them and was like, I gave a shrug there for those that can't see me. And then Oscar gave a detailed answer of, we're working hard together and blah, blah, blah. It was a very political answer. He didn't say anything positive or negative.
Like Oscar is more mature.
Exactly, yeah. But I think it's going to be tough because I think for the rest of this season, they will be fighting.
Absolutely.
For the whole year, every single race.
Until Lando gives up.
It'll be tough. I think it'll be really tough on Lando if Oscar's dominance continues. Because we didn't even go over the statistic. This is the first time that a McLaren driver has won 3 races in a row since Mika Hakkinen in 1998. And who won the Drivers' Championship that year?
98?
98. Mika Hakkinen did.
Oh, okay. I was like, I don't know.
It's him.
Yeah. Well, I think it's one of those things where, it'll be interesting to see. Like, I mean, I feel like because Lando was able to get the sprint victory by accident, it probably gave him like a little bit of a boost.
Yeah.
But had Oscar won the sprint too, like, I feel like he'd be back to sad Lando.
Yeah, I think one advantage Lando has over Oscar though is I think Lando is a little bit of a stronger qualifier. He has put in some very impressive laps, and I think he has had more poles than Oscar has, and I think he is a little, just marginally better qualifier than Oscar is, and I think that's his big advantage right now.
Yeah.
Is the two of them in the same car. If Lando's on pole, and then if there's anybody in between Lando and Oscar, I think that's what he's banking on.
Yeah, like I think Oscar's a stronger starter.
Yeah.
So I think, so I think for Oscar, if he can get it on pole or be number 2, then he's got a solid chance for the rest of the season.
Yes.
And I think he knows that too.
Yeah.
His reaction time just seems to be a lot more sound.
Well, he seems to get to the first corner faster than
Yeah.
He puts his car in the right place.
He's scrappy. I like it. All right. So we've talked sprint. We've talked the Grand Prix. We talked Japanese proverbs. Anything else?
There's nothing else for me, no.
No? All right. Well, we will be back next week with a historical race.
Yep.
And then the week after, heading to Italy. All the pizza and pasta. That is one race I probably will never go to. Anyway, thank you for listening to this week's Motorsport podcast. We'll see you next week. Bye. Motorsport Podcast is a Vorbeck Media production. Follow us on Instagram at Motorsport Pod. You can listen to the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or our YouTube page, Motorsport Pod. Bye.